I got to ask you because I mean, I think we all were a little upset. Didn't see it coming at the beginning of the offseason. Definitely didn't see it coming every time Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan talked. Mason Rudolph goes to the Tennessee Titans. Before we dive into anything, what were your thoughts yesterday when that news hit?
I wasn't really that surprised, especially knowing when Russell Wilson comes in and the conversation has already been, is it Russell or is it Kenny? Does Mason really want to throw his hat into the ring? And then he goes to the Titans, and it's essentially the same position he was in last year. A young
Yep.
quarterback that isn't entirely, his team isn't entirely sold on him. He beat out Kenny Pickett. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be able to beat out a guy like Will Levis, especially with some of the options that they got there with Tony Pollard. You
Yep.
add in a wide receiver like Calvin Ridley.
Yep.
So I think he has a much better shot going down there on a 1-year deal, making more money potentially than both quarterbacks in Pittsburgh are going to make. And the question then becomes, I mean, does he end up starting more than Kenny Pickett next season? I mean, that's going to be an interesting storyline to watch next year. What do you think? Is Mason get more opportunity, more starts than Kenny Pickett does in Pittsburgh?
Oh, in 2024, does Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett start more games? That's a heavy hitter to start the show. All right, I'm going to go Mason. I'm going to go Mason Rudolph. I'm going to say Mason Rudolph has more starts at the end of the season this year than Kenny Pickett does. I don't know what I feel about Will Levis, but I do think that Mason Rudolph is a capable quarterback. I think he's going to go in there. I think he's going to look to compete. I think that the Titans, it's a new regime. It's a new head coach. They did not draft Will Levis. Doesn't mean that they're all in on him. They signed Mason Rudolph. They thought that he's worthy of a backup role. I could see him going in there and Will Levis maybe losing the job at some point, and then Mason Rudolph looking at it and saying, all right, let's get in there and let's win some games. And I think he's capable to, at bare minimum, just win some games. And that's all you need to do. I mean, I don't know if you've seen our pal Mark Caboli tweeting about it the last 2 days. That guy's going hard, man. He is losing his mind that Mason Rudolph is nowhere in Pittsburgh. I texted him yesterday. I said, hey, pal, hope you're doing okay, because it does not seem like you're doing okay. I'm going to go Mason more than Kenny. I think Russell Wilson wins the job this offseason. I'm standing by my reports earlier in the week that said that the Pittsburgh Steelers view Russell Wilson as a guy that's got to earn the job over Kenny Pickett, but I think that he will earn the job over Kenny Pickett. And I think that at some point, Mason Rudolph earns the job over Will Levis and doesn't let it go. And he is their guy. They got weapons. Calvin Ridley was a huge move for them. I'm sure Calvin Ridley signed because their pitch to him was, hey, we're also pursuing Mason Rudolph. And he was, okay, why would I not go to the Tennessee Titans? They got Aaron Jones, I believe. No, Aaron Jones went to Minnesota.
Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard, thank you. Also went to Tennessee. I think he's got weapons. I think he's got enough going on down there. Just as much as he had in Pittsburgh, probably. Maybe not as good of an offensive line, but I think I'm going to go Mason Rudolph on that one. And I feel pretty confident in that. Good luck to Mason. I think that's huge. I think it's a loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I also don't think that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to sign him for more than a 1-year, maybe a 2-year deal max, because I think he viewed this as, I'm going to take this year by year, see how much I can earn along the way, see how my career looks year to year, because if he gets an opportunity somewhere, he doesn't want to be tied down for 2-3 years. He wants to look at it and say, look, if I get a shot in Tennessee, I'm making $3 million this year. I think it's up to $4 million total, depending on how much he plays. If that's the case, then next year I'm viewed as a starter somewhere. I'm going to get even more money. And I think that's the way to go. I think that's how he views it. And I wish him the best of luck in Tennessee. I'm glad he finally got out of Pittsburgh, because, man, he just kept getting jerked around up here. And I hated to see it happen. Twice was enough. And I was like, okay, at this point, go somewhere else. Shout out Mason Rudolph. Wish him all the best in Tennessee until he plays the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then, we'll see what happens. A Tennessee Titans Pittsburgh Steelers matchup with Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett might be the greatest thing the NFL could not ask for. And I think it would be crazy.